Oh, so dramatic. All right, today's topic, regret. Regret. Let's read the definition of regret. Verb. Number 1. Feel sad, repentant, or disappointed over, in parentheses, something that has happened or been done, especially a loss or missed opportunity. Quote, she immediately regretted her words, unquote. Synonyms. Be sorry about, feel contrite about, feel remorse about /for. Be remorseful about, repent, feel repentant about, be regretful about. Okay. Now, noun. A feeling of sadness, repentance, or disappointment over something that has happened or been done. Remorse, sorrow, contrition, contriteness. All right, guilt. All right, so welcome to the Power of Self-Evolution. I am your creator, Karen Lovely, and clearly I am sad. I am regretting. I'm in regret. I'm remorseful. I'm sorrowful. I'm full of sorrow. And this all has to do with the regret of never fulfilling upon what I have always felt to be my greatest gift is my ability to dance. And so I'm here this morning, once again, with my friend, Dano, former client, and over the years, we met actually in transformational seminars, and we've been friends ever since. So that said, good morning, Dan. Thank you once again for being here with me to discuss regret.
Good morning.
Yeah, so the energy's heavy. And, I have suffered a setback. My knee finally gave out, but it had been twinging for a year. And that started happening, I would say, after my near fatal car accident, April, over a year ago. So it's almost a year and a half. And, I worked through everything. The body is the unconscious. I absolutely believe that. Our predominant beliefs and belief systems, especially the unconscious, subconscious, disempowering beliefs, manifest into the body as disease, dis-ease. And so finally my knee gave out, and I was devastated because the first thing I thought was, oh God, if I can't dance, I just don't want to keep living. There's no point to life for me to live if I can't dance. And so I immediately have to go to work, consult my mentors, my chiropractor. He's amazing, Dr. Aaron Garcia, and his partner Veronica. They not only do the chiropractic. He's one of two chiropractors that I've worked with that are amazing. And interestingly enough, I've worked with different chiropractors, and very few could really do the job, but these two in particular actually have done emotional work as well. And interestingly enough, also they're one of the best chiropractors for my body because I have quick twitch muscles. It's very hard to adjust me, and very few actually can make the adjustments, but these two men are able to make the adjustments consistently, and they both do this profound emotional work to delve into the unconscious and the subconscious mind. And So in dealing with this, they said, Karen, there's a lot of sadness. Where's that sadness coming from? And I'm like, wow, I thought I was over not being a dancer for longer and not dancing as a kid. And I was so talented. Like, I had this natural ability. So Dan, like, I was a kid and I could watch dancers on TV and copy what they were doing and actually teach myself. So, and then I became a professional dancer way later in life than most people. As a matter of fact, it's unheard of. And it didn't take me long. I trained like every day, almost every day for 2 years straight. And it wasn't even a formal dance class. It was an exercise dance class. And of all places, in Laguna Beach, California. The teacher was amazing. But because of my natural gift, I was able to once again excel and then become professional. But the regret goes back to early childhood. Like, I just, even talking about it, I just feel like, So this podcast is about regret. So, Dan, off the bat, can you think of any regrets that you have in your life?
Yes.
All right, just one. What's the first one that came up in your mind?
Well, probably the first, the one that sticks out in bold relief is I regret that I was so a case of, I think I would call it arrested development, emotionally. And this has been something that has really influenced and tinged everything.
Yeah, well, that's a deep one. That's a good one. Right? Regretting that you weren't more conscious and aware and earlier on in your life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and that it's been it's still an issue. I mean, this is still an issue.
Yeah, and it's always going to be an issue. No one's exempt. It's the human condition. Blah, 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 blah. That's really deep. That's profound. That's a great one. I mean, that's like, whoa. But I think mine's better. No, just kidding. Because most people will relate to regretting never, either regretting getting married too soon or regretting not having kids, regretting having too many kids, regretting not finishing college or any one of those things, external conditions.
Sure.
And, yeah.
Yours is better because in the context of it's more specific.
Yeah, but no, it's not. It's I'm joking, and yet yours is even more important, really. But that said, like I said, I believe more people can relate to something outside of ourselves first to regret. A circumstance. Yeah. And
mine also relates to what I regard as the single greatest mistake that I made in my life was because of my arrested emotional development. I made this mistake.
What was the mistake?
The mistake was selecting someone to get married to.
Oh, yeah. So your regret is having married the person that you married, and it didn't work out. Yeah.
Having married the person I married, because I certainly was nowhere near ready, and she was not anywhere near ready either. And it was a massively, massively bad decision that caused me a great deal of bitterness and stress over decades afterwards. After the divorce, and during also.
Yeah, I totally can understand that. And See, the whole thing, the reason why I couldn't even sustain dancing was because I was infected with so many mind viruses, so many disempowering beliefs, that it was impossible. So the regret, you know, getting in touch with this regret, missed opportunity. But if I really think about it, do I want to be a professional dancer? And did I want to be, like, to this day, would I want to be a professional dancer? Well, yeah, but where would I go with that at this point? You know, teach classes, do choreography, have my own dance company. No, you know, that's not what I'd want to be doing. So what's really the regret? Is that I'm hanging on to the sorrow and the grief. In other words, it's like the death of dance for me, and I'm not over the grief of not having been a dancer, having trained and be the best of the best, you know, to where it would have been, I don't know, I guess a bigger career than I had. Yeah, I became professional late. That was okay. But, like, I would have had a bigger career. So I really want to dig deep here, because it's like, today, would I want to be a dancer and professional? No. You know, be a judge on Dancing with the Stars? Yeah, I guess that would be good. But would I trade it for what I do now today with the unconscious mind rewiring, reprogramming? No, I would never, ever, ever, ever. I already know that this is my purpose, to do what I do with the brain and the mind and the human psyche, and that I would never, ever, ever change, nor would I ever want to replace it with dance. So that's what's weird. So then there's something even bigger underneath, is the attachment of my being able to dance defines me at some level. Does that make sense, Dan?
It would seem so.
Well, all right, that's not... Yeah, okay, so let me say more about it, right? To where it's like, whoa. Underneath it, right, and speaking out loud, hearing myself speak, right, you know me, you've known me for years. You just said arrested development. I mean, I know how to unarrest someone in their emotional development. So, would I trade that? No, because that's exactly what I was going through with the disempowering beliefs. Is you could say, yeah, I was arrested in my development, but I'd like to say it better, or more clearly, is that I was so grossly insecure and so grossly in massive self-doubt, self-loathing, self-hatred. You know, whether I was arrested there or not, doesn't matter whether I was arrested. It was what ran my whole life by default, unconsciously. I was unconsciously competent at self-sabotage, self-torture, self-punishment. And so I'm still attached to today, still being able to dance, even it's for myself. I don't need to dance and prove anything to anybody else. I don't need to be the best one. Although I love to perform, and I love to, when people watch me dance, you know, that's really awesome. But now I'm at a point where I don't need that. What I do need more is my own connection to my own ability to dance for myself, my soul, my spirit, you know, deep within my core being. And to think that I can't do that for myself makes me sick. But then I'm attached to, my life isn't worth living if I can't dance, whether it's for me or anybody else. That's what this is really about. Like, I'm nothing. I'm once again a loser. I'm pathetic. I'm not good enough. Right? If I can't dance, then there's something seriously wrong with me. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong with me. my ability to dance defines me in some way. Makes me feel better about myself for myself. But if we really think about it, my ability to dance is a superficial way to say, haha, you can't dance, I can, I'm better than you. Then I'm at some level superficially believe that I'm good enough, which is crap. It's BS. It's absolutely BS, right? You know, like that just sounds so absurd. And yet it lives inside of me like it's completely real. Because my brain, and every human brain is programmed the same way through association. I make the association an objective reality. My ability to dance says, clearly proves that I'm talented, that I'm gifted. I have to have some objective, real, tangible proof and evidence that I am gifted and that I am talented, special, and underneath that I'm good enough, I'm worthy, I'm valuable, and that my life means something, that I'm here for a purpose. I feel sick. So that said, now Dan, any comments, feedbacks, observations?
Well, what's has been coming up for me under the, in the background, listening to you is, that I'm considering that part of the attachment, or maybe a significant part of it, is about being mortal. That the dancing isn't going to be possible to do when you're 95.
Yeah.
That you missed the opportunity, and of course the regret folds into that. And so, if that really is your identity, you're heading towards having no identity, inevitably.
Yeah, that's good right there. If I don't have dance, then who am I?
You're old.
Well, that's a description. It's more like that's you, right? Projecting. Yeah, I'm old, then that's a problem. But it's more like, who am I? What defines me as worthy? And why am I here?
Yeah.
Because the reality is, okay, yeah, I don't want to get old. Old, but what's old? But would I ever, let's talk about this for a moment, because I actually talked about it with Dr. Aaron and Veronica. I said, I have an issue with aging. However, there's no way I would ever want to go back without the wisdom and consciousness that I have today. Because what I know was, when I was doing stand-up comedy, I took the comedy class, we were in there for 6 weeks, and we did a show. Now, granted, I almost quit because my disempowering beliefs almost killed me and killed off my stand-up comedy dream, which was on my bucket list. But because of this work and being committed to self-evolution, I completely had more confidence than anyone in the class. I was the only one in my class at that show from the Hollywood Improv to be scouted to the main room at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. So, right, and most of the people in the class were way younger than me. But I was the only one scouted. And not only was I scouted to the main room, the show was called Hot Girls. It was all women and all hot women. So bam. Take that to the bank. Right? So what got me there through and through, and the only reason why I could even take the comedy class and perform, was because of my ability to understand the human psyche and to be committed to transformation, consciousness, and self-evolution. And same thing stands true for me to have gone back and to be teaching at the Teen Project, right, to these women 18 to 24 technically, but there's 26-year-olds, 27-year-olds, under 30-year-olds. And I get to dance with them. And the only reason I have been able to go back after 10 years off of dancing, I stopped after my sister died, right, is because of the power of my mind and my ability to override all the unconscious fears, all the deep-seated insecurities, disempowering beliefs I've had about myself, and they run deep: self-loathing, self-hatred, self-annihilation. And look, would I trade that for anything? No way. And the only reason why I'm so at this level of consciousness is because I have all the experiences of failure. So that said, Dan, being old, bring it. Because what I know is if you keep seeking and growing and are committed and dedicated like I am to this deep, profound understanding and unconditional love for self, I can run circles around every single human being on the planet. And then that's worth it to me, right? And through age, if we choose and seek, comes great, profound enlightenment and wisdom. So bam, okay, that I'm okay with. So who knows, maybe I will. I just saw a bunch of women 80 years old. I just posted it. I saw it on YouTube. They're 80 years old on a basketball team. They're called Splash. And you have to be over 80 to even play on the team. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so you know what? If you think they're old, fine. That's your perception. But this is helping me let go of that. But to have that wisdom and maturity to still be playing basketball, I believe that with the power of the mind and heart, through the work that I do with the evolving the self and understanding the brain, the basic function of the brain based on neuroscience and how the brain is programmed, we can do anything. Now, will I be able to do like 18 pirouettes in a row and then jump up off the ground 30 feet? No, probably not. But I'm not going to put it out of the realm of possibility, right? So it's like, I'm going to say, calling you on it, Dan, is that, bring age, bring oldness. Because I know through experience that is the only reason why I have this level of consciousness today. And I wouldn't give it up for the world. So, back to the matter at hand. Well, first of all, Dan, do you get this? Any comments on that?
Yeah, I get it. From my perspective, yeah, I wouldn't give up right now. I wouldn't give up who I am and whatever maturity that I have and whatever self-development and self-awareness I have. I wouldn't give up the level of all those things where I am now and trade it for 20 years younger.
I wouldn't even trade it for a nanosecond younger. But that's me.
No, I wouldn't even trade it for 30 years younger or whatever.
Yeah, I know, but 30 years, I'm just saying, I wouldn't even go back to yesterday.
Right.
Okay, so here's the deal, right? Let's circle back, because that's a really great topic right there, but I think I just covered it, and not only that, I just nailed it for myself. Okay, yeah. So go ahead, people. But the thing is, it's this mindset and understanding and getting and being able to override and get rid of the mind viruses, the disempowering beliefs from childhood. That's where they all stem from. Get to the root core and catapult your life. Okay, so that has given me the ability to continue dancing. So now, but the matter at hand is this regretting. Why am I hanging on? See, the question is, why am I hanging on? Here's where the questioning your beliefs comes in, the limiting beliefs, especially, which is the podcast that we just did. I did with my client Bob Cooney, and that was extraordinary. But I'm in the questioning of my beliefs here. Somehow I'm still tied to my body working and being something for me that defines me. I'm attached to my body working at its optimal. Somehow makes me better to myself than if I didn't have my body. And it defines me at some level. And I it's like, what's underneath sadness? I have to ask myself. There's regret, there's sorrow, there's sadness. I'm sad. It's like I'm have to allow myself to grieve the loss of what never was, what could have been, what I didn't perceive that I had. But it's not even, yes, I could have danced more, but there's no guarantee I would have made it even to any professional status. Maybe I would have injured myself earlier perhaps. So that's not really it. So now the question is, what is really it? And you know, Dan, what's coming up for me is that because I do believe that dance for me is a gift, that's my evidence that I'm gifted. So I must be doubting. Many people have said, you know, especially my clients, you're a gifted healer. You're gifted. You have a gift. You have a gift. Okay, great, you know. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I know. But for me, it's like, I like being a gifted dancer than a gifted healer. How come you're not laughing? I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it's funny and it's not.
I know. Well, clearly you didn't laugh. So, okay, why is it not funny?
Yeah, because you can't be completely accepting and unattached to your gifts.
Yeah, I'm not attached to being a gifted healer, but I'm attached to a gifted dancer. Oh, I don't know. There's more ties to it. It has to do with, like, I don't know, being hip, being cool, maybe. There's just something. But okay, so you know what? Let's think of it as a death. That's all we need to know, is that we have to be willing to grieve and allow ourselves the sadness and sorrow of a loss. And there's a book called Necessary Losses. I don't know the title. I have the book somewhere, but I've had it for decades. I think one of my therapists told me to read it. Well, I bought it, but I never read it. But the one thing I know is that the title alone was brilliant because it helps me. Necessary Losses. This is a loss that's necessary at some level. I just don't know. I just can't see the good yet in it. Does that make sense, Dan?
You just can't see the good in what?
In the loss of dance somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about it. Like, I have to parallel it to the loss of a loved one or a loss of my horses. Well, I've lost a lot of animals. Goats, sheep, horses, donkey. Yeah. A lot of losses. Oh. Well, then it's a loss of myself. So I think of the loss of my sister, the death of my sister, as I had no other choice but to grieve. I know the answer, but I can't see it because it's me. I'm emotionally involved. I know the answer to this. It's like, well, Dan, think about this. What do you tell a person who just lost a loved one, whether animal or human? It's okay to be sad. Like, You have every right to mourn the loss, as this sadness. I'm just so, I don't know. It's just like I can feel it. I don't want to give up my identity, my dance. But then I have to weigh the cost of hanging on to it. It's like mourning the loss. Oh, God. It's the attachment thing. Oh, I know. It's the unfamiliarness of it. I keep saying, oh, dance is my gift, and I love to dance, and dance heals me. It immediately raises my happy hormone levels. It makes me feel good. It's the best drug ever. Oh, God, I have no drugs. That would be it. It's a drug for me.
There's a connection. And there's an attachment.
All right, say more.
Yeah, without your drug of dance.
Yeah.
Since you've given up the other things that were drugs for you, this is all that's left.
Yeah, I have no drugs left. Well, no wonder I'm depressed.
Mm-hmm. No wonder.
Oh my God.
You are sad.
Yeah.
And you're mourning.
I have nothing to fall back on. I have nothing for the quick fix.
Yeah, talk about unfamiliar.
Yeah. First drug of choice, perfectionism over achievement. Well, perfectionism, that's it. And then through overachievement. And then all the other drugs, fitness, oh God.
Including even just coffee.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Addicted to coffee, caffeine. But I've worked so hard to release anything, any quote-unquote drugs, anything in excess, like over shopping, over tanning boothing, over, there are people that over spray tan. It's like, oh my God. Over acquire animals, especially horses. That's an addiction. Horses. I've let go of materialism. So dance, I see. This is so interesting. So dance I could hang onto as a drug because I was like, well, it's nothing outside of me. Do you get this? That's deep.
Yeah.
I could hide it just below the radar because it's not an external objective thing. It's a talent within me. The only thing I need is my body. I don't even need music. So many times the girls at dance class, oh my God, they're like, I said, you don't need anything. You can just dance and practice in your rooms at night before you go to bed. Anytime. They're like, no, we need music. And they think they need music, but they don't. I don't even need music. I can just be in my head and do it. Does music help? Yeah. But wow, this is like the best concealed drug ever. So that's where the sadness is. If I unattach myself, and I use the word unattachment, not detached. My word is unattached. If I unattach myself to this profound drug, my identity through my self-worth and identity through my ability to dance, my gift of dance. Now I got nothing. So now I'm in blankness, and then immediately the amygdala, the fear mechanism, is triggered into fear because the brain definitely wants nothing to do with the unfamiliar, the unknown. And that's because of the survival mechanism. So here it is. I got nothing. Can't use money as a drug anymore. I already worked through that one. Not to say there aren't like nuances to it, but this is big. I got what else is left? Money, career, purpose, men, relationships, friendships, horses, cars,
dogs.
Dogs. I want a Doberman puppy and a miniature teacup white Pomeranian like Paris Hilton has.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if something that small were to have a really powerful bark? How ear-splitting that would be.
Well, it's worth it for a little fluffy ball of extreme cuteness. It's like one big fur ball. It looks like a snowball, like a hairy snowball with two eyes. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen. And Paris Hilton is addicted to these little teacup dogs like me. And it only cost her $13,000. I mean, really, that's not a lot of money. I mean, for Paris
by the pound, it's kind of a little pricey. But
yeah, right, because it was only like 2 ounces. It was so cute. It was like this little tiny ball. Yeah, and so, of course, if I had a teacup Pomeranian, pure white, then of course I'd be somebody. I'd be right up there with Paris Hilton. Although, who is she? Like, really? So, I have nothing to identify myself with. Now what do I do with myself? So I'm thinking, this is the mindset behind the whole thing, the whole ball of crap. Is like, wow. And just to speak it out loud, this is why we have to talk about it, is when I hear myself speak, I'm like, wow, you are delusional. So to think that I'm somebody just because I have a gift of dance, and it's a gift of hip-hop. Let's just be clear, right? Like, that means a lot to me, but to a lot of people, they're like, ew, no thank you. And then to do hip-hop and have the quick twitch muscles is very rare, you know, in general. Or almost anybody could country line dance. And I mean almost anybody. Even if you're in a wheelchair. I mean, that would be hard, but you actually could do the top part, your body. But the point is, blah, 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 in my delusional mind, I'm thinking it's something. That unless I can dance and do hip-hop, I'm no one. I'm not cool. I'm not hip. Get it? Hip. And I can't hop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely be, hip-hop. Yep, be very hip.
Oh, wow. And you know what's coming up, too, is when I go to hip-hop with the girls, I feel like I'm in, like, 7th grade all over again, but like 9th grade, I'm the cool girl. I was never the cool girl. And then I get to be the coolest teenager in the room when I go teach hip hop.
Yep.
Right? And then I show up with my nails done. They're like, oh my God, I love your nails. You know. And they're like, oh my God, I love your oversized baseball shirt. Oh God, that's so cute. The army, you know, all the stuff I buy at the thrift shop. They just think I'm the coolest thing, and I wear all these boys' hip-hop clothes. And I like doing that too. I gotta explain that as well, is I purposely dress in oversized clothes because most of these women come from sexual abuse. And they're objectified, human trafficking, sex trafficking, and my whole thing is, you know, don't pull a sex card because that's just too easy. It's too overdone. But underneath that is I want to respect these women and not feed into the sexual trauma. You know, and I don't know, I've never really talked about that. So when I say stuff like that, Dan, what do you think?
Well, I'm feeling what you're saying, and I'm getting that you're sensitized to what they're coming from and what their life experience has been like. So I get it.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of get the feeling of why you would want to dress a certain way.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. Like when you do hip hop, it is very athletic. And I can go, you know, the sexy feminine way But I do hesitate in this particular situation because of what the girls have been through. And I see them. I see what they do. I see their behavior. I know where it's stemming from. And I'm not going to feed into it. You know. So I just have to bring that up. So, you know, I know I do things for a reason that are important to the human psyche. But what we need to know is it's my ability to dance, especially with hip hop, is tied to all my deep-seated insecurities of never feeling like I belonged, you know, in my early school years. I was not popular. I was discriminated against. I was bullied. I was made fun of. It was horrifying. And now I get to be the cool girl, the cool teen. So if I can't hip hop, I can't be the cool teen anymore. And then,
yeah, you can't identify as finally being the cool girl.
Yeah, and actually reliving those teen years in a healthy way. And that's a huge loss to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to think, oh gosh, you know, wow, then I got, you know, and there is something, I absolutely believe there's something to be said where we have to go back and we can heal all of those wounds from childhood and our teen years, our preteen years. You know, and I'm not saying stay arrested in your development and think that I'm like this little, you know, 15-year-old hip-hop girl, because that's ridiculous. But if I can be, you know, this profoundly self-loving, self-acknowledging human being and can still hip-hop, more power to me. But I see if I attach myself as it being my identity, I'm just setting myself up for disappointment and a false sense of mattering and self-value. And it's not real. It's false. Like, I'm only as good as my next hip-hop move. That's what this is really about, Dan, isn't it?
Yeah, it would, this would seem so. You definitely have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it sounds like.
So it's just as sad for me now to not be able to dance. It's my whole 19 years old and under has been nothing. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Because, as I always say, I believe all our inherent programming and our belief about ourselves and the world all happen under the age of 8. Specifically closer to age 2, so 6 and under. By 8, we have our self-defense coping mechanisms in place. And then from 9 to 19, we just deal with the need to belong amongst our peers, socialization, and how we perceive money. And then after 19, it's all just a repeat over and over and over again. In every one of my case studies, I can prove it. I can absolutely prove it if people are willing to look and go there. Is just like, wow, it's a trip. It's like Groundhog Day every moment thereafter. It's just a repeat. And then just different locations and characters come into the play of life. And then that's it. So do you see now? This triggers like a domino effect. Everything. Not only do I don't belong, I don't matter, I don't fit in. It's everything I've dealt with to where it's evidence that I'm absolutely nothing with no gift, and my life has been a waste and a cruel joke. And I know that seems extremely dramatic, but so many people can relate to that. Oh, God. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is allow ourselves the grieving process. Want to allow ourselves to identify the sadness, the depression, the sorrow, however it's showing up, and be okay with it. Let's not resist that. Yeah, it is sad. It is sad that I didn't get to dance as a child because I wanted to, just for even fun. And it's sad that I didn't sustain a longer professional dance career. And it's sad that, you know, I don't ever see myself on Dancing with the Stars. However, never say never. But, you know, yeah, it's just sad. But in no way, shape, or form does my gift of dance ever define me. It never has, and it never will. But for as long as I believe it is my identity, it is my self-worth, it is who I am, I'm setting myself up for grave, grave failure and disappointment from here on out. And here's the thing. Okay, so this is what we need to know. For as long as I hang on to my gift of dance defining me in any way, shape, or form, the body then resides in this angst state. Does that make sense? It goes right into fear. But it's not blatant fear. It won't show up as blatant fear. It's going to show up as symptomatic. And guess what? Unconsciously, I stay in stubbornness, in pride and ego. And I lose my ability to be flexible and flow in the dance of life. And that's all according to Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, where our thought patterns create disease, dis-ease in the body. I absolutely believe that. Almost 100% of the time. And sure enough, as I've been working through this, my knee has been recovering beautifully. And now I have a little scar tissue and some muscles. But truth be told, the twinging had been there since the car accident, and I didn't take time to work on it. I neglected to deal with it, thinking it would just go away. And it didn't. It got worse. And so now I am very grateful that my body is saying, okay, you know what? You're not getting the messages, so we're going to escalate, the signals. So here it is, and it's a choice. Do you want to take a look at this, or do you want to, quote unquote, be crippled for the rest of your life? Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And I'm saying, message received, and here I am. But it still feels like, wow, as deep. And it's not like, oh, Karen, get over it. No, I have to just allow the feelings to come up and out, and whatever's there, let it be what it is, with no judgment, no criticism. There's nothing wrong here. This is the human condition again, and to just feel the sadness. Yeah, it's sad. But it would be even sadder if I kept my body in this, panic state, this stress state. What I'm going to do, what we resist persists. I will now injure myself again, and I will now prolong the agony of defeat by keeping myself in this panic-stricken state. And what will happen unconsciously, I will continue to injure myself, and my knee will never, ever heal. That's the truth of the matter. I absolutely believe this. And for that, once I can articulate it and get in touch with it, I can say, oh my gosh, no thanks. That to feel the sadness, I can go, oh yeah, it is sad. But it would be even sadder and more devastating to never ever be able to dance again. And if my injuries get worse, who's responsible, Dan? Me. Can you see that?
Yeah, it always does come down to that, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I'm gonna say, wow, I'm not going to continue feeding into that because I got way too much hip hopping to do. So I can feel a shift. I can feel the energy shifting. It's slow. This one's a big one. I mean, this is a big drug for me. And you know what's interesting, Dan? In all the years I've known you and been working on all this stuff, do you know, wow, it's a layer of an onion, and and it's an infinite onion, that I've never ever said my drug was dancing. Ooh, it's when we get to what we don't know because we don't know to look for it, and we can't see it because it's virtually, utterly unconscious. For me to say, wow, yet another drug that I'm willing to let go of, knowing it doesn't serve me, never has, never will, I can shift into my my optimistic feelings. So let me remind you all that our perceptions create our feelings and emotions. In other words, whatever we perceive, the emotions will back it up. So I was in the perception, I had this perception that I'm nobody without my ability and gift of dance. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I'm a loser, really. I'm pathetic, and I got nothing. I'm not hip. I'm not cool. I'm not hopping. I'm not hipping. I'm not hopping. I'm a disaster. With that perception, that's absolutely going to bring depression, sadness, and regret. And yet it's all a lie. So now that I spoke it out loud, understanding how the brain computes information, I can see that I'm delusional and that none of this is real. It's just my view, my opinion. So whether I can dance or not, I am someone with something. And it doesn't matter if anyone believes I have anything or not, whether I'm gifted or not. I just have to believe in myself and trust myself and know. And I said it earlier, would I ever trade this level of consciousness and my commitment to evolving myself? No way. No way. Because what I know is that gives me the ability to sustain dance or whatever I want to do. And it also gives me the ability to not have any more drug addictions, if you will. And then that's worth it. Huh. All right, Dan. What are you hearing in general and then for yourself?
Well, in general, and for myself, anything can be a drug. Whether it's...
That's right.
And what's coming up for me is I used to have a little problem with literally just, it sounds kind of silly, but I used to say, oh, I'm going to go jump in my car and just go drive without any destination.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, that was a drug for me, because the clinical medical explanation of what constitutes the effect of a drug is that it influences or changes our state of mind or our emotions.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't do that, then it doesn't have the effect of a drug. Well, I used the car and just driving without a destination as a drug to make me feel more comfortable.
Yeah, it's an avoidance tactic. It's a denial tactic. It's
that's right.
It's a numbing agent, if you will. And it occurs to me, this is a whole nother topic that I'll get into eventually on my podcast and many podcasts, is that the biggest drug of all, and within all of humanity, is the drug addiction to not unconditionally loving and respecting self. That is the number one drug. And that is an addiction. The addiction to self-doubt, the addiction to self-insecurities, not believing in self, underneath everything. That is a drug. Self-sabotage is the number one drug. So that's like, this runs deep. But I'm feeling better. Thanks to this conversation. Thanks to you, Dan, for being a listening. Because as I speak, I know what to look for. And I know, how to not just transform it, but transcend it. Is I'm really getting the costs of me believing that my gift of dance is a gift, but it never, ever, ever defines me, and it never will. And to be grateful for the gift, and then be okay that it is what it is. In other words, I'm no longer going to resist being able to dance or not. Because I know if I hang on to and I cling to it defining me, I'm setting myself up for consistent failure and self-sabotage. And the self-sabotage is having my knee go out and not taking care of myself, my body. And, it occurred to me the last time I was at my chiropractic session, which is a few days ago. It's like, Karen, you're an athlete still. You're a dancer still. So you need to maintain your body to support that. That means more stretching, more warming up, right? And that's what I have not been doing. I've been like a teenager going in, dancing, and leaving. No stretching. But that's ridiculous. Like, who in their right mind? It's not going to create longevity. So now it's being more responsible. And this happened, and it could have been way worse. But it's just a little scar tissue, some muscle ligament issues, and there's nothing serious here. And it can all heal. Right? So taking my power back, being 100% responsible, meaning do what I need to do. If I choose to dance and be a gifted dancer for myself, it requires maintenance, it requires warming up, it requires stretching, and taking the time to do that. And the one thing, when my chiropractor said, if you can get in touch with your knee, what is it saying? It said, you're not dancing enough. You need to be dancing and stretching and moving more. And so I'm making that commitment to myself, and I see that I don't feel sad right now, Dan. I feel hopeful. I feel like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm fully responsible for my knee giving out. I knew there was a twinge for a long time, and I just ignored it because I was irresponsible. But in that irresponsibility, what I wasn't doing was I wasn't caring and nurturing myself. I was feeding into self-sabotage as opposed to self-service, if you will. I wasn't taking care of my soul, my spirit, my emotional state, my intellectual state, and my body. And that's what this is about, is my body. There was a disconnect there, and I'm reconnecting to my body. And that's powerful. And I got to, take the time. And that's the whole thing, is it does take a huge commitment to maintain health, wellness, fitness, finances, relationships, love. It's all about responsibility and sustainability and unconditional self-love, self-respect, self-care, self-maintenance. Yes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or I can choose to be sorry Sally, like poor me.
Yeah, self-maintenance ongoing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that I can take on, and right now I don't feel that sad. As a matter of fact, I don't feel sad at all. I feel like, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm feeling better. Now I can at least feel like I don't feel sad, but I feel like, oh no, how am I going to fit in stretching? But I at this point, I don't feel sad. I feel like, oh, all right. I got it. What are you getting, Dan?
Well, it's really an interesting topic because it for me it goes to once again, let me remind myself the medical definition of a drug is something that positively influences the emotions or state of mind from an outside source. But we're using a broader definition that anything can be a drug.
Yeah, and when you say drug positive, it ain't positive, but it appears as positive. But yeah.
It appears as positive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. And yes, everything and anything is a drug and can be a drug and is used as such. And when we say drug, what we're really doing, so this is how this works, is consciously we're trying to feel good. Unconsciously, it's hiding and masking the pain of the unconscious feeling really bad.
That's right.
And so,
if you look at, how amazingly powerful professional sports are, how many people live their lives largely in order to be fans. You know, James Harden was a brilliant player for the Houston Rockets. It was just announced, I think, yesterday that his contract with the Rockets is extended for 2 more years, and over the next 4 years, he will get $232 or $252 million.
Wow.
Yeah, his contract was for 2 years, and it was something like 112 or something million.
Okay, and so connect the dots for me. So in that.
Well, here's someone who benefits greatly from the fact that a large percentage of our population has an unconscious need for the drug of professional basketball, the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because it makes people feel better.
Yes.
And the typical really rabid fan, when they're interviewed, it's really telling. When a reporter asks somebody about, you know, a big game or something, it's always they identify as part of the team, and they'll refer to their team as not as the team or the Houston Rockets or whatever team it is. They'll say we.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, right, as if they're actually part of the team and on the court.
Right. And we're not putting them down, but what they're doing is living vicariously through them. But you know what? Yeah. I want to go to the real addiction. Here's the real addiction, okay? And it's within the realm of self-sabotage, but as human beings, we're addicted to not getting on the court and playing. We're addicted to not showing up. We're addicted to staying small and living small. That is a crying shame right there.
Yeah.
That's what this is really about. And I love that, you know, the analogy of the court. Many people can be spectators and sit on the sidelines and identify with the team, but very few will actually get up on the court and try and play.
Yeah.
All right, you're getting scratchy. We're just about to wrap it up here.
I had to plug my phone in.
Okay. So, all right, that's another topic for another day. But let's just, I'm going to quickly recap. I started with this regret, right? Hashtag no regrets. And when we feel a sadness or a sense of regret, delve in deep, dig deep, because it's worth it. And I knew that I had to go to work on really dealing with this sadness, and it showed up, the symptom is regret, and to understand it, to really face it, and allow myself to feel it, and be with it, that's number one. So we have stay attuned to body sensations, stay attuned to disease, dis-ease in the body, in the emotions, in the heart. And it shows up as lack of motivation, lack of inspiration, procrastination, distraction, mania, insomnia, anxiety, irritability, frustration, the feeling of overwhelm. Those are all symptoms. So you want to look for that, right? And then if you're feeling down, sad, depressed, allow yourself to feel the emotions because they're going to disappear. Now, ask for help, get support, get people that get you and support you. That's why, Dan, I have you on a lot of these podcasts, is because we have a history, you have trained formally with me, and you're a great listener. And you're always seeking for yourself, right? What can you get out of this that would, empower you? Because as human beings, we are essentially all the same, in that with our human brain, we all compute information the same, and that we can learn through one another and be empowered through another human being. And so we want to feel our feelings, not make anything wrong here, not criticize ourselves or judge ourselves, and allow it to be what it is. And then go to work on it. What is it triggering? What is really going on? And then to talk it out. In talking it out, we can hear ourselves speak, and we can also hear ourselves say ridiculous things, and we can also call ourselves out on things when we hear ourselves speak. And nothing is more powerful than for us to hear ourselves speaking and call us out on our own stuff. That's how we get it. It's one thing for a person to call you out on something. It's another for you to actually call yourself out on something. You'll actually get it more, and it will be more impactful, and you will actually get to the other side of it quicker. Unless you have a professional, expert, specialist, facilitator like myself, then if you have that person, it's going to be even faster. Or whomever you have in your corner, on your team, you want to use that support system. But I want to say at the matter at hand is pay attention to the regret, because with that regret, it slows us down, it stops us, it puts up walls, and it prolongs the agony. In other words, it keeps it in play. The resistance stays intact, and we have to dissipate and disappear the resistance, and then we are freed up to get back on track with clarity and momentum, with inspiration and motivation, determination, endurance, and perseverance. And then we can keep going. And that's the whole key here. So the process is feel your feelings, get in touch with it, call upon help and support, facilitators that can help you with the process, speak it out loud. If you can't speak, write it down. Blue pen, white paper, hand write it is actually better than typing it on the computer, but you can always go back and type it if you'd like. And then I'm going to say keep searching, keep seeking. Look for what you can't see. Look for what you don't know, that you did not know, that you thought you knew. And with that, time and time again, we can be freed up and feel this sense of clarity and freedom, hashtag self-freedom, and then continuing on our journey, our aspirations, and our endeavors with almost a sense of effortlessness. So I do feel like, wow, I feel much better than when we started an hour ago. And Dan, I want to acknowledge you and thank you once again for being available and being such a profound listener, and holding the space, if you will, to have me work through this. And then what did you get for yourself here?
Well, just primarily what I'm getting right now is all that really matters, and what I'm getting right now is just how powerful it is to experience power as freedom.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hearing in the last, couple of minutes there, is when you described almost effortless, and that's what I'm going for here, is that there's nothing really in the way of self-expression in life in every way.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's the ideal. That's what you're after, and that's what anybody who gets some self-awareness starts to get, that it is possible, that it can happen. So that's what I'm really getting out of this, is just being able to work through and the steps you described of experiencing your thought, your emotion, before there's any possibility of excising it or transforming it. So this is all something that requires some dedication and some courage and some work. But wow, I mean, just in the experience of the last hour and a half, you've caused a miraculous clarity to appear before you.
Yes.
And that's extremely valuable. You can't really put a price on it.
No, and this is the whole thing of, I practice what I preach. I practice what I teach first and foremost. Like, I do the work and then I teach it. I work through it and then I teach it. Then I preach it, And that's the whole thing with me. Is I'm human. I'm not exempt. I do the work. I have a team of facilitators that I pay. And then I have people like you, who are committed to the process and are available to listen. And we need that. And that's what I'm committed to. And we it takes a village, as they say, and it's worth it. Now, can I say, oh, I'm completely like gung-ho? No, because this is a big, I am now giving up my next drug. And I would be lying through my teeth if I said, oh yeah, I feel great. No. I'm giving up the addiction to using my gift of dance as a drug, in that it defines me. That I use it to feel good. No. Now I can say that's a perception. I think it makes me feel good, but that's a lie. I can feel good with or without dance. And so I'm letting go of the whole drug dynamic, the whole addiction to. And now I just need time to integrate, and there's more to look at here, and I'm committed to doing that, and it might show up as a part 2 or in another podcast, or however it shows up, it'll show up. But the one thing I do know is that it works. And I can clearly say, wow, this sense of sadness and regret is not present in this moment. And that I'm thankful for. So I can be in gratitude, and I'm doing everything it takes to attend to my knee, my emotional, spiritual state, and healing is in process. And I'm excited because now I'll be actually a better dancer, more fit, more limber, more flexible, and better than I've ever been. So it has been yet another incredible wake-up call. And like I say, message received. Okay, I'm not stupid, I'm just slow. And thank you, body, for being ill-eased. And I'm here to say I'm taking care of you, I'm taking care of me, and let's dance. Bam! All right, so thank you, Dan. You are awesome. Thank you all for listening. I would love to hear what you get out of this. Any comments, please Feel free to comment, give a 5-star review, and comment on iTunes. I would love to hear from you. Any feedback, any topics you'd like for me to address, please email me at KarenLovely@gmail.com. Check out my website, KarenLovely.com. And until next time, people, you know what? Just shut up and dance. Get out there, wiggle, jiggle, and move your booty. And let's get the party started, all right? Dan, you're awesome. And until next time, pow pow! Woo!